Hi everyone! Today we're going to be making Gongbao chicken. So we're going to start off by getting a chicken breast and we're going to cut it in half because if not the pieces of chicken are going to be too thick. So after cutting the chicken breast into two pieces, we're going to start by doing what I like to call slap the meat. We're going to do that just to make the meat a little bit smoother and softer to work with. And all the spices that we're going to be adding to the meat is going to be soaked up into the meat and the meat is just going to taste super delicious. So as you can tell, I went a little bit crazy with slapping the meat, so eventually we're going to start cutting the chicken. So you want to be cutting the meat into smaller pieces when you cook Gongbao chicken. You don't want to leave any big pieces of chicken because the meat is going to end up tasting really dry and it's just not going to be as delicious. So once you're done cutting the meat, just go over the meat one more time, make sure that you don't have any big pieces, and then you add the chicken into a bowl. You're going to be adding some water, some salt, and some cooking wine, and a little bit of Sichuan pepper to the mixture. And then you add a little bit of egg, and you all mix it all together. We're then going to add some cornstarch to the mix because we're going to actually fry the chicken a little bit before we start cooking the actual dish. So you give that a nice mix. For this part, it's just, depends on how much you want to add. You don't want to add too much, but you still want to have that kind of layer of cornstarch around the meat. You're then going to add a little bit of soy sauce and you're going to start mixing the meat again together. We're then going to put the chicken away and we're going to start frying some peanuts. We're just going to put them in a pan and let them cook for a little bit, not too long because you don't want to burn the peanuts. To get our scallion and our ginger, we're going to start chopping into pieces. We're now going to start making the sauce for the actual dish. So we're going to be adding 5 spoons of sugar, 1 spoon of salt, half a spoon of Sichuan pepper, some white vinegar, some normal vinegar, which is in China called dark or black vinegar. And then we're going to be adding a little bit of cooking wine and 1 spoon of cornstarch. We're then going to add a little bit of chicken powder and a little bit of oyster sauce, and we're going to give it all a really good mix. So what I actually ended up doing for this part is that before adding it to the dish, I actually made a little bit more. So I added a little bit of water, a little bit more oyster sauce, a little bit more cornstarch, a little bit more of everything, to be honest, except from the vinegar. And I just tasted the mixture to make sure that it was, tasting like what it should be tasting like. So once you're done with making the sauce, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up some dry chili. So for this dish, it's really important that you use dry chili because that's what's going to make the flavor even better for this dish. Now that you've prepared everything that needs to be prepared for this dish, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start cooking the chicken. So for this part, I actually preheated the oil because it needs to be rather warm for the chicken to be cooked properly. Just for this part, make sure that the oil is not too hot. You don't want to be frying the chicken, you just want the chicken to be cooked properly. So I left the chicken in the oil for about 1 minute before I took it out of the oil and I drained the chicken from the oil. And I actually don't throw away the oil. I use the oil for cooking in the future. We're then once again going to heat the pan. We're going to add a little bit of oil and then we're going to add our Sichuan peppers and our dried chili to the oil. And we're going to give that a nice and good stir. Once you stir the chili and the Sichuan peppers for some time and you see that the oil is getting really nice and hot, you're going to add your scallions and your ginger into the mixture and you're going to give it once again a nice little stir. So while cooking the scallion, make sure that the pan is not too hot because that's just going to end up burning the scallions and it's going to give the dish a rather weird flavor, which we don't really want to have doing. So then go ahead, add the chicken, turn up the heat on the pan, and then we're just going to give that a nice little stir. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our sauce into the pan. Once you've added the sauce, make sure that you mix really quick. You don't want to leave the pan alone by now because once you've added cornstarch into any sort of mix, the cornstarch is going to start turning really sticky rather quickly. So give it a stir, add the roasted peanuts, and then we stir it once again. So I left some Sichuan peppers and some dried chili just for the end because I like adding some at the end of the cooking. And then I'm also going to add some chicken powder and then stir it up and your dish is ready. So, mix it 1 or 2 more times, get a plate, and then you're going to put your dish onto the plate and then it's ready to be served. So Gongbao chicken is normally served with rice in China. So, go ahead, get some rice and then enjoy your dinner, lunch. Probably not breakfast, but dinner or lunch I would say is a good option for this dish. So I hope you guys enjoy your meal. Let me know if you tried to cook the dish and, send me a picture to see how you went on. Enjoy!